Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love MMA as much as I do. Brian Ortega returns after a big submission win over Yair Rodriguez and messing up his ankle by hopping up and down the cage while the fighters' names were being announced in February to take on Diego Lopes. Now, I did a little research on Diego Lopes. I know he has 22 finishes, 10 knockouts, 12 submissions. So I'm going to take it that he's a submission specialist with heavy hands and knows how to hit. Brian Ortega, he does hit hard. He does have a one-punch knockout over Frankie Edgar. And keep in mind, when he knocked out Frankie Edgar, this was like 2016, 2017. It was before he had his first title fight with Max Holloway a long time ago. And we all know what Max Holloway's doing nowadays. He did struggle a little bit. He had a hard fight with Volkanovski. I'm not going to say his loss to Yair was a fluke or anything, but he was getting lit up before even hurting himself at that point. And then he came back to beat him in a rematch after being out for so long. If Diego Lopes beats Brian Ortega, I would not be surprised. This guy's a finishing machine. He has had a loss last year, but he's won three back-to-back first round finishes, a submission with an armbar, and 2 TKO wins to top it off. He's also had 3 of those finishes result in performance of the night bonuses. So this is an exciting fight, you know. As far as picking a winner, it was difficult because Lopes is hungry. He's ranked number 14 in the featherweight division. Ortega's like 10 plus spots above him. He's fought a lot longer. It was hard. This was a hard fight for me to pick just because I didn't know much about Lopes, but then I saw the finishes stand out. And the one loss he had in the UFC was a decision. He got out grappled. Ortega can grapple. He's a really good jiu-jitsu fighter. He's got really good submission skills. He hits hard too. It just depends on where the fight takes place most of the time. If this fight's on the ground, I'm picking Ortega by submission. Obviously, I think that favors him. Because even though Lopes does have a bunch of submission wins, Ortega's a really good jiu-jitsu black belt, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. He is good at, he probably can avoid submissions. I believe this fight will be about the experience and who can go longer when it goes late second, early third, and beyond. I mean, is this a 5-round fight? I think co-main events are 5-round fights, right? I don't know. I don't think they are. I don't think Costa's fight was a 5-round fight. Was it? With Strickland? I don't remember. I know who won the fight. I look like an idiot. I picked Costa. But back to this fight. It looks like Brian Ortega has really turned the page in his career. He had the thing going on with Tracy Cortez last year. He was talking about other things in his personal life. He since then has found a new relationship. He clearly fights a lot better. He fights with more focus than he used to. He clearly trains really hard. I think he really is serious about fighting for the title again and is serious about wanting to win. And if anybody can beat Tuporia right now, it would be Brian Ortega, just because of the submission skills and the fact that he can knock guys out if he needs to. And he's durable. He's tough. So if you're wondering why I'm coughing, I mowed some grass yesterday and I did cover my face, but I don't think it was good enough. I'm dealing with a little bit of a sinus thing. I don't feel sick. My yard was real dusty. So as far as picking a winner, I think Brian Ortega wins this fight. Diego Lopes, I believe he'll be the better striker. He'll drop Ortega a few times in this fight. But I see Ortega hanging around in a similar fashion like he did with Yair Rodriguez. He most likely won't have the ankle issue. I believe Ortega will come back in the late second, early third and begin to outstrike Diego Lopes. And I believe the experience will lead to him getting a takedown and beating him up for a little while. And I see Ortega winning a very close, possibly controversial split decision. You remember the fights that Vanderlei had with Bisping and even last year with Gagey and Fiziev? Very controversial decisions, but because the winner finished real strong and was trying to finish it, while the guy that probably outscored the other didn't do as much, you know, if that makes sense. I have Ortega winning a controversial, come-from-behind split decision to ascend himself to the top of the division. Now, if Lopes wins, it won't be a decision. It's a knockout. And again, anything happens, I would not be shocked if he somehow submitted Brian Ortega.